This is a three-part series focused on different reallocation methods. This series will have three short videos, each explaining a portion of the query provided within our workshop. There are different reallocation methods, however, today we're namely focused on one of them, which is proportional reallocation. Proportional reallocation allows you to do a showback or chargeback of your savings plan discounts or reserved instance discounts based off of broader metrics. These broader metrics might be your total compute consumption, regardless if you're seeing savings on those resources today, storage consumption, another service, or even an internal metric. You might use this to do a fair redistribution of your savings for your organization. For this video today, we're going to be focused on defining the broader metric. We'll use the example of reallocating our savings plans for my organization based off of the individual linked accounts compute consumption for that particular month. Now, jumping to the demo here, we're going to navigate to the Amazon Athena service. I preloaded the different queries from the workshop here, but after you paste it, one thing to note here is that with any of the queries from our workshop, you'll need to use this with your own cost and usage report name. So I'll scroll down here, and you'll see a placeholder. I'm just going to double click that. I'm going to expand my tables, and then I'm going to double click my cost and usage report name, and it'll paste there. So let's talk through the query first before looking at the results. We have different dimensions from our billing period, our account ID, our product code. I use this case statement to define the purchase option. Scrolling down here, this case statement defines our amortized cost. We're also pulling back public cost, and that represents the cost prior to savings plan and reserved instance application. And then we have this new function, which is a window function. This window function takes a look at the different dimensions that I defined above, so linked accounts, purchase options, and then defines, for that particular billing period, what portion of spend did I make up for that line. Now I have my filters down here below. I'm taking a look at the last 3 months of data. I'm taking a look only at EC2 and Fargate usage, and then I have these charge types. If we run here to the results, we'll see the last 3 months of data here. And then we have my different linked accounts, product code, as well as purchase option. We have those aggregations that I mentioned from amortized cost and public cost. If we just take November as an example here, we can add the different public costs from $49 to $372 to $648. What we're interested in is, for this particular row, what percent did 49 make up of the total spend that I had for that month? And in this case, it's about 5%. 35% for this 372, and then roughly 60% for this third line here. This calculation restarts for every single month, and it should equal 100%. We'll ultimately use this to reallocate our savings plans in later videos. Hope this helped, and join us for the next video. Thanks. Now in this video, we're starting off in the Amazon Athena service. We've already pasted step 2 from our lab here, and we're going to take you through the query. With any of these, you do need to replace this with your own table name, so I'm just going to double click here on the placeholder, open up my tables, double click here on my cost and usage report name, and it pasted, and then I can hit run. Let's explain the query again. We're taking a look at the dimension of billing period, and then we're doing a calculation. So we're looking at public costs, which represents the cost prior to savings plans and reserved instance application, and subtracting it from this formula here. This formula represents amortized cost, or how much those savings plans and reserved instances were costing me. The difference between these two items gets me to actually my savings plan savings. Now the last piece before we look at the results here, like the last query, we're only looking at the last 3 months of data. We're making sure that we're only filtering to where there was a savings plan Amazon resource name, or ARN for short. Taking a look at these product codes, EC2 as well as Fargate. And then we can look at the results here. So not too much interesting data. Again, it's my sandbox, but we see for these different billing periods, this was my respective savings resultant of savings plans. Hope this helped. Thanks, and join us for the next one. This is the final video in our series here. We're going to start off in the Amazon Athena console. Now this is step 3, And step 3 encompasses both the queries from step 1 and 2. You don't need to paste them in here, they're already built into the query. Those videos were really just there to represent and explain what those queries did. For example, we have the query determining my splits for the different compute usage here. If I scroll down here below, we have my savings plan savings. And then after, we're going to have the new portion of the query where we actually do that reallocation. Before we get started, there's 2 places that we need to replace our table name. One here, again, determining the splits. And if I scroll down here, this is the savings plan savings. I'm going to double click there. And then I'm going to collapse this. We'll hit run, but we'll explain the new portions of the query. So in this case, we're taking a look at the different dimensions: billing period, account ID, product code, purchase option. We have our different aggregations from amortized cost and public cost. And then we're also pulling in the formula from our percent of total for the different splits. We're joining in the data for savings. And then we're just doing a calculation. So what percent did my compute make up for that particular line, multiplied by the savings plans for line 116 here. If I scroll up here, we just have one last calculation where we're doing a subtraction here, taking a look at our savings plans. And then this is our new reallocation, calculated as proportional savings. And then we're just doing public cost minus proportional savings. And then in the case that I had something else, such as reserved instance, we're doing the same as well. Let's look at the results. We have our different billing periods. In this case, we have our service EC2 instances. We have our different aggregations. So this is what it would look like in, say, Cost Explorer when looking at amortized cost, public cost, which is before those different discounts are provided in, the percent of total, which we determined in our first query, the savings plans, which we determined in our second query, and then just our multiplication there. So $13 times this roughly 5% gets us to 60 cents. And then what the new reallocation looks like. So in this case, this didn't make up that much spend within my environment. So rather than seeing costs of $36, using this redistribution, I'm going to be spending $48. In this case, this one here saw a little bit more savings, 371 to 366. And then this case, 648 down to 640. So this actually consumed most of the savings plans, regardless of the fact that most of the usage ran on demand. So I hope this lab helped in explaining how this query works. Thank you.